Hi, it's Emily Leiphart of Art from the Heart, and this is a product review video for Paper Smooches. I'll be showing you the two bow dies that were released as part of the Easter collection. The baby bow die is on the left, and the large bow die on the right is part of the Easter egg die. You can see the basic size difference between the two dies. I've already detached the larger bow from the egg. I'll keep the three parts of each bow die together, but you can snip them apart if you wish. I'll be assembling both dies to share their assembled size side by side. Then I'll be assembling the baby bow die in various materials to show you how cute and versatile these dies are. I'll be sharing two other videos following this one to show you how these bows work on various projects. Then I'll show you both those projects together in relation to each other, as well as in comparison to other Paper Smooches products. I'll be using double-sided pattern paper for the first bow. This paper is from We Are Memory Keeper's It Factor 6x6 paper pad. It's one of the thicker brands, very high quality. For quick and easy assembly, I love using glue dots. I always keep micro and mini glue dots on hand. The mini glue dots on the right are larger than the micro glue dots on the left. So now we can have a closer look at the two bow sizes. First, we have the main loop that sits on top of every bow. You can add the horizontal tails or the hanging tails to keep it simple or fancy. The easiest way to assemble it is to warm it up with your fingers. This way the paper curls instead of creasing. As you'll see later, using thicker cardstock will make the loops more susceptible to creasing. For the baby bow die, a micro glue dot hides perfectly behind the center notch. I just bend both sides of the loop and they'll meet in the center. I don't overlap the ends at all. They just touch, and these glue dots are so strong they won't come undone. You can use two micro glue dots if you wish, so that each end is held on by a single glue dot instead of them sharing one. You can also use some kind of liquid adhesive. With liquid adhesives, you'll have to hold it there for a short time till it dries before moving on to the next step. For the larger bow die, I use the mini glue dots. There are so many ways you can assemble these bows. The looped part can just sit on top of the hanging tails, or you can make them straight bows with the third part. To assemble the bow with tails behind the loops, I'm going to take the piece with the little tab sticking out, apply a glue dot to it, and wrap the little tab around. You can wrap it in either direction depending on whether you want the reverse side of the pattern paper showing. Once the looped part of the bow is stuck on that, I will add another micro glue dot to the top of the bow. This way, when the tab wraps around, it has something to stick to. To finish off the bow, I add one more glue dot to the back to hold the end of the tab on the back of the bow. Now my cute baby bow is done. I can use it like this, or if I want it to be ultra fancy, I would stick it to the third piece of hanging tails and use it that way. Using the bigger bow die, I'll show you a variation by using the reverse side of the pattern paper for the horizontal tails. If I do that and wrap the tab around in the same direction as the baby bow die, then the pattern paper in the center matches rather than contrasts with the bow itself. If I wrap it in reverse, the contrasting paper will reveal itself. You can do this in any direction depending on the look you want, especially if you're using double-sided pattern paper. Here's how the assembled bows look next to each other, with and without the tail pieces. Now I'm going to make the same bows from solid 80-pound cardstock. I'm assembling these in exactly the same way with glue dots. Even though I did warm it up with my fingers, it creased a little bit. I think that the quality of the cardstock and how much time you spend warming up the cardstock may make a difference. Plus, these embellishments are more for hand delivery than anything. If you send them through the mail in anything but a box, they'd still be crushed and creased. Not that that would look terrible, it just depends on how you want them to appear as a final product. I'll show you later how pretty they look in felt or fabric, and those materials definitely don't leave creases. So there are the two solid colored bows, with and without the extra tails. Next, I'm going to use 100-pound cardstock to show you how an even thicker material looks. It's still super cute and pretty, but I got significantly more creasing than the 80-pound cardstock. I would suggest curling the ends around a small paintbrush or quick stick tool for a few seconds to see if it would eliminate the creases. It also depends on how much patience you have. I personally don't like to wait, so I guess creasing would happen when I'm rushing. The next material is glimmer cardstock. Who wouldn't love a super sparkly gold bow? I'm assembling just the baby bow die with the hanging tails. It's so pretty. This next bow will be made from wool felt. It die cuts through it like butter. I'm going to use a hot glue gun to assemble this one. I'm applying little blobs of glue in the same spots where I'd put a glue dot on paper or cardstock. There are always those little spider webs when using a hot glue gun, but they're easy to remove or pull away once the glue has cooled, which is pretty much right away. Since I'm working on a tiny surface, I just have to be careful not to burn my fingers. Look how cute and soft that is! You can use scissors to trim away the little fuzzies if they bother you. This last bow is cut from vellum. Normally any adhesive would show through vellum, but since it's very layered where the adhesive is applied, it's well hidden so you don't have to worry about it. Of course, the glimmer cardstock, felt or fabric, and vellum are much softer materials, so they either don't crease at all or hide creases well. If you're concerned about creases, then I'd recommend using one of these types of materials over pattern paper or cardstock. So here are all of the bows that I made, including the pattern paper bow, the 80-pound solid cardstock bow, the 100-pound cardstock bow, the glimmer cardstock bow, the felt bow, and the vellum bow. 6 different materials and 3 types of bows. Up next, I'll share an Easter tag using the baby bow die as an embellishment on a paper Smooches critter. Please refer to the supply links below if you're interested in any of the products I used in this video. You can also visit my blog for stills and more information about my work. Thanks so much for watching!